loved someone so deeply that you thought your love could heal them? That if you just stayed patient enough, gentle enough, understanding enough, things would finally get better? I used to believe that too, until I found myself in a relationship with someone who had untreated bipolar disorder. And what started as passionate and magnetic slowly became chaotic, painful, and at times unsafe. Today, I want to share my story, not to shame or diagnose anyone, but to help those of you who are trying to love someone with bipolar disorder and are confused, hurting, or losing yourself in the process. Hey, I'm Cole, therapist and counselor, and on this channel, we make sense of thoughts and feelings that keep you stuck so that you can heal and actually like yourself again. In my last video, I shared the facts about bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, what they are, how common they are, and how to support someone living with those diagnoses. But today's video is personal, and it might be a little cringe because I am a professional, but at the same time, I want to be transparent with my story because I feel like it can help someone. Behind all that education, I had my own story, one that taught me that knowledge doesn't always prepare you for the emotional reality of loving someone who refuses treatment. This isn't about blame. It's about honesty, healing, and understanding what it really takes to protect your peace. Pardon me throughout this video. I do have an outline because it's a lot to, express your personal thoughts and experiences. So, yeah. But here we go. So, talking to you about my experience. So when we first met, it felt like something out of a movie, really. It was kind of a whirlwind romance, if you will. He was charming, full of life, passionate, all of that. It felt real electric. He was very charismatic, could light up a room with his energy. We went to basketball games, we talked, road trips, all of that. So it was very exciting, right? And I mistook that intensity for connection, for love. But looking back, I didn't see was that those highs were often part of manic episodes, the sleepless nights, racing thoughts, impulsive decisions that seemed thrilling at first until they weren't. So over time, the energy shifted, the impulsivity became more unpredictable. Spending sprees, angry outbursts, disappearing for days, then coming back like nothing happened. Like, for real, for real. I try to talk about getting help, but it always turned into defensiveness, of course, and denial. And he'd say things like, I don't need therapy. I'm not your client. I just need people to stop stressing me out. Like, losing jobs, high paying jobs frequently. Like I said, going out and not coming home. And when you're in a relationship, you're not their mother, so you don't want to be overly controlling or on their backs. But certain things are just not acceptable, especially when you're living together. So when you love someone, it's hard to see where compassion ends and enabling begins. And I kept trying to be his calm in the storm and be his peace and be his rock. But I didn't realize I was standing in the middle of the storm myself, like seriously. So then came the crashes, the days he couldn't get out of bed, wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm waking up almost out the door for work and he's still in bed. And I'm like, yo, you don't have to go to work. The silence, the hopelessness, watching someone you love swing from euphoria to despair is really heartbreaking. I bring food, check in, you know what I'm saying, encourage him to seek help. But every attempt to care felt like walking on eggshells after a certain point. I never knew which version of him I'd get that day, the loving partner or the withdrawn stranger. I know I'm not the only one that has had that feeling that there was a stranger in your home or that you were by yourself even though there was someone right next to you. It doesn't feel good. And what made it even harder was the guilt, feeling like if I left, I was abandoning someone who was suffering. You know, he had a whole lot of childhood trauma, absentee parents, lost a parent at a very young age, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of emotional tug of war where it really wears down your soul, like seriously. So the turning point came when things became unsafe. And I hate to admit this, but I'm just being honest. The anger became unpredictable. There were moments where words turned into things being destroyed, holes being punched in walls, stuff being broken. I'm sorry. So I didn't recognize the person standing in front of me anymore. And I'll be real with you, it wasn't just me. It was people close to him, siblings, relatives, best friends. Like, it was like, then when I learned one of the hardest truths of my life, mental illness can explain behavior, but it does not excuse abuse. You can have empathy for someone, struggle, and still say, this is not okay. You can love someone deeply and still walk away to protect your peace. Because I think a lot of times, if you're super empathetic or caring, sometimes you eat that. You eat the verbal abuse, sometimes the physical abuse, the mental abuse. You eat it because you feel like I'm the strong one. You know what I'm saying? But boundaries are needed and it's not okay. So, of course, I had to make the decision to leave, and I feel like the last straw was he didn't come home one night, and then he didn't come home one night, so I went in the little office or whatever, and I was kind of looking around, and I found a receipt and a liquor bottle. Mind you, we had already been through DUIs, not coming home, but the receipt, it was like from a strip club or something like that. And at that point, I'm like, nah, I can't do this. So finally left, got my own crib, you know, and yeah. So after leaving, I went through my own grieving process. I isolated myself, you know what I'm saying? And this was right around the time where COVID hit, like right before COVID hit. Same year, but just a couple of months prior to. So, you know, and I felt really alone. I questioned everything. Was I wrong to leave? Did I do enough? Was I the problem? But it got to a point, yeah, it got bad, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. It got bad. And it got to the point that he didn't care who we were around. He didn't care if we were in public, if we were around friends. It didn't matter. Like, he would just lash out. So I'm gonna be real. I'm a therapist, but therapists need therapy too. So therapy really helped me understand that I wasn't tweaking. I wasn't crazy for feeling confused. I had been living in constant emotional whiplash, and part of healing meant letting go of the fantasy that I could save someone who didn't want to be helped. And don't get me wrong, I even reached out to his family like, hey, you know what I'm saying? This is what's going on. Like, is this something that runs in the family? And he had already had the inclination that one of his parents suffered from mental illness. So when I called the family, like, hey, and she's no longer here, but is this what's going on? They denied it. So it was some enabling going on. Learning about bipolar disorder gave me compassion, but boundaries gave me freedom, you know what I'm saying, to actually walk away. I learned that understanding someone's illness doesn't mean you sacrifice your well-being for it. Especially if you have kids. Please, if you have kids, you have to think about them and your well-being because you're responsible for them. Now, when I think back, I see both of us with empathy, two people doing the best that they could with what they knew at the time. So that's my story without getting too deep into into it. But if you're in a relationship with someone living with bipolar disorder, here's what I want you to remember. You cannot love someone into stability. It's not enough. They need some sort of treatment. Encouraging help is caring, but forcing help is not your job. So everyone knows, whether it comes to a bad relationship, an addiction, an illness, people are not going to get help until they're ready to get help. Protecting your peace does not mean that you're abandoning them. It's self-preservation. Because if your well-being is not intact, what do you feel like you're going to do for them or for children or for whoever else in your life? Mental illness doesn't make someone unlovable, but love doesn't replace treatment. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is step back so both of you can heal separately. Let's see where we at. If you've ever found yourself torn between love and self-preservation, please know that you're not alone. It takes courage to care and even more courage to walk away when caring starts to cost you your sanity. Keep showing up for yourself. That's how real change happens. I hope this helps someone. If this resonates, please like, comment, share your story. Let's build community, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable during this time. And yeah, until next time, peace.